42 million people around the world are now thought to be infected by HIV, the virus that causes AIDS. Many are sick or dying. 9 out of 10 people with AIDS live in Africa, Asia, or Latin America. Countries like Zambia have been battling against the AIDS epidemic for over 20 years. But new regions are now facing an AIDS crisis of their own. Eastern Europe is at the frontier of the epidemic. The former Soviet Republic of Ukraine has one of the fastest growing HIV rates in the world. It's estimated that 1 in 100 people are now infected by HIV. While the number of people actually dying from AIDS is still low, the virus is spreading with alarming speed.
We don't have a roadmap for what's going to happen in Ukraine any more than we had a roadmap for what was going to happen in Zambia. But the big difference is that Ukraine, of course, is 20 years on from where Zambia was when its epidemic started, and one would have hoped there would be some new ideas around, some new responses.
But what will those new responses be? By drawing on experience and knowledge from other parts of the world, will countries like Ukraine take the necessary steps to contain the epidemic before falling into the HIV/AIDS abyss? One in 5 people in Zambia are infected with the HIV virus. From its densely populated cities to distant rural communities, the country has suffered staggering human losses. Lusaka, Zambia's capital city, is no exception.
If you just walk the streets of Lusaka, you see the way people are nicely dressed. You actually miss the whole picture. I mean, you don't get the sense that HIV/AIDS is that serious. The most vulnerable age group is probably from 20 to 49. And if you go to any graveyard, there is a burial. I mean, you go to our graveyard here in Lusaka, there's always a queue on a daily basis of people being buried.
Surveys show Zambia faces more than 200 AIDS-related deaths every day. With HIV infection rates at 27% in urban areas and 13% in rural areas, the coffin industry is booming. Zambia already has over 600,000 orphans, and the streets of Lusaka are becoming home to more and more children who have nowhere else to turn.
The kids on the streets, a lot of them, their parents have died of AIDS. When both parents die, then there is no one to commit themselves to take care of these children. So because of that kind of situation, they rush to the streets, because in the streets, there is so many of them, so they feel comfortable, though they can't stand it too much. But it devastates them, even mentally, some of them, because they are on glue, they are on drugs, they are on alcohol. Fine to say they are just depressed. You can stay with one, maybe 2 months, can't talk to anyone. So you need to take some time to really find out, and they explain, no, what happened is this, is that. I don't know if I'll ever be out of this situation.
The Mapodi Centre in Lusaka provides food, education and accommodation for some of the city's most vulnerable children. Many of the children fall victim to abuse and are often drawn into criminal behaviour on the streets. When they lost their mother to AIDS, brothers Emmanuel and Mikey drifted into town.
The big boys on the street tried to take our money, and if we didn't give it to them, they beat us, and so we often had to keep running away from them.
I like it here because I'm sure of food here. I'm sure of sleeping comfortably. I'm sure of playing football, and I'm sure of seeing tomorrow.
But the fear now is that the situation in Zambia will deteriorate still further. As more people die, it's becoming increasingly hard for the devastated population to support itself.
What we're seeing now is that HIV has got a big economic impact, because again, if you look at the age group that are dying, it's the 22 to like 22 to 49. Now, these are the ones who are supposed to be the engine of the economy.